everyone, welcome to Mentors Buddy. My name is Akhil Gautam. Today we are going to discuss a question based on time and work. Okay, now in order to solve the questions of time and work, first let's understand the basic concept which works behind the time and work. Okay, according to the logic, let's say I'm taking one simple case, that is A is, let's say, one man who finishes certain piece of work in 4 days, and B is another man who finishes the same task in, let's say, 6 days. And the question is, if A and B both are working together, in how many days they will finish the task? The question is quite simple. A finishes a certain piece of work in 4 days and B in 6 days. If A and B both are working together, in how many days they will finish the task? Now, in order to solve this question, we are going to proceed with the simplest approach. What I'll do, I'll consider the total work to be as 12 units. What is this total work? Considering this is the total work which finishes or done by A and B. Right. Now another question arises that why I had considered the value to be as 12 units, because we can see that the value 12 is perfectly divisible by both 4 and 6. Basically the LCM of 4 and 6 is going to be 12. Now it says A in 4 days finishes 12 units of work, so definitely A in 1 day will be finishing 12 by 4, that is 3 units of work. Similarly, B in 6 days finishes 12 units of work, so in B in 1 day will be finishing, there will be 12 by 6, that is 2 units of work. So the logic says A in 1 day finishes 3 units of work, B in 1 day finishes 2 units of work. So together both A and B will finish 3 plus 2, that will be equals to 5 units of work. So A and B together finishes 5 units of work in 1 day. Now according to this, 5 units of work together is finished by both A and B working together in 1 day. So 1 unit of work will be finished by them working together in 1 by 5 days. Right. So the total work which we need to finish was of 12 units. So 12 units of work together will be finished by both A and B will be in 12 by 5. That will be equals to 2.4 days. That's the correct answer. So A and B together will finish the task in another 2.4 days. Now applying the same logic in the coming question, whatever the question we are going to deal with about the time and work, this is one approach, that is the LCM of time taken by A or B or by 3 people like A, B and C is always going to be applicable. Now understanding one another question. So now in this case the question says Rajiv can do a piece of work in 10 days, Venki in 12 days and Ravi in 15 days. So they all start the work together, but Rajiv leave 2 days, Rajiv leave after 2 days, Venki leaves 3 days before the work is completed. So in how many days the work is completed? Okay, understand one thing, there are certain key points which we need to understand while solving these questions. Okay, considering let's say this Rajiv to be as like denoted by R1 and this Ravi to be denoted by R as R2, because both are started with the initial R, and considering the time is a constraint, so considering our Rajiv is R1 and Ravi is a R2. So then further it says Rajiv leaves after 2 days. The key point is he leaves the work after 2 days, and Venki leaves 3 days before the work. These are the 2 important points which we need to note down. Now coming directly to the question, it says that is R1, that is Rajiv finished the task in 10 days, Venki finishes the task in 12 days and Ravi, that is R2, finishes the same task in 15 days. So very first thing what I'm going to consider, I will consider the total work to be as 60 units. Now why I had considered the value to be as 60? Because 60 is one number which is divisible by all, that is 10, 12 and 15. Basically the LCM of 10, 12 and 15. Now if Rajiv, that is R1, in 10 days finishes 60 units of work, so Rajiv in 1 day will finish how much? 6 units of work. Similarly, Venki in 12 days finishes 60 units of work, so in 1 day Venki will finish 5 units of work. And finally Ravi in 1 day will finish 4 units of work. So according to the 60 units, R1 in 1 day finishes 6 units of work, Venki 5 units, and Ravi, that is going to be R2, finishing 4 units of work in 1 day. Now another thing which we need to consider in this, let's say the total time they are taking to finish the task is, let's say, T days. We need to figure out the value of this T, right? So T days is the total time taken by them to work together and finish the task. Now coming to the language of the question, it says they all started working together, but Rajiv leaves after 2 days. So for the very first 2 days, Rajiv, that is R1, had worked. So Rajiv in 1 day finishes 6 units of work. So definitely Rajiv, that is R1, in 2 days will finish how much? 12 units of work. So we can see out of this 60 units, 12 units of work is already finished by Rajiv. And then it says Venki leaves 3 days before the work is completed. So Venki, if the total time taken they had worked is for T days, and Venki had left 3 days before the completion, so Venki definitely must have worked for T minus 3 days, right? Venki must have worked for T minus 3 days because Venki had left 3 days before the completion. So Venki, if in 1 day finishes 5 units of work, then definitely Venki in T minus 3 days will finish how much? 5 into T minus 3 units of work. So Rajiv finishes 12 units of work, Venki finishes 5 into T minus 3 units of work, and finally this Ravi, that is R2, must have worked for the entire period. So entire period they had worked is for T days. So Rajiv in T days must have finished, in 1 day Rajiv finishes 4 units of work, so in T days must be finishing 4 T units of work. Now the question, coming to the summing up of all the values, Rajiv, R1, had worked for 2 days. The work finished by Rajiv is must be of 12 units, plus Venki worked for T minus 3 days, and the work finished by Venki is 5 into 3 minus T units of work, plus Ravi must have worked for the entire period of T days, and the work finished by him is 40 days, and that is equals to the total work, and the total work we had already considered to be as 60 units. Solving this can be written as like 12 plus 5t, 12 plus 5t minus 15 plus 4t is equals to 60. So this 12 and 15 can be sorted out, and solving this, getting the value of t to be as 7 days, right? Solve this equation and we'll get the value of t to be as 7 days. So in that case the correct answer is going to be 7 days. That is option number D.